The crowd in the great crystalline hall of the alien capital shimmered with anticipation. The walls of the palace seemed to hum with energy as the queen herself stood before a strange obsidian box on a pedestal, her gown flowing like liquid starlight across the marble floor. Her eyes were fixed on me. The lone human invited into this foreign court. Whispers raced through the audience about why the human was here and why the queen of all beings in this galaxy had issued such an impossible challenge. I had been told that the box was locked with an ancient seal, one that no alien, no matter how powerful or clever, had ever managed to open. For thousands of years it had sat untouched in the heart of the palace, a symbol of mystery and impossibility. And now this alien queen, who was easily the most breathtaking woman I had ever seen, was offered herself in marriage. If I could open it, the air was thick with disbelief and tension. Her voice carried across the hall like music. If you open this box, ill marry you, she said, and the room erupted in gasps and laughter. Some thought she was joking. Others thought it was a clever way to humiliate the human in front of her court. But her gaze on me was steady and serious, as if this was no joke at all. I took a step toward the box, feeling every eye in the galaxy on me. She was taller than most humans, her silver hair cascading like a waterfall over her shoulders, her skin a pale glow like moonlight. Her eyes were a deep shimmering violet that seemed to pull me in like gravity. I had met her only once before, during a diplomatic exchange, when she had regarded me with curiosity, but now that curiosity seemed sharper, more dangerous. She approached the pedestal and brushed her fingers along the edge of the box, as if testing its presence. Her lips curved into the faintest smile. No alien has ever been able to open this, she said softly, leaning close enough for only me to hear. If you fail, you will leave this palace and never return, but if you succeed, you will be mine forever, and my empire will be yours to share with me. I wanted to ask why she was doing this, but the intensity in her eyes told me she would never answer that question directly. So instead, I placed my hands on the box and felt its strange surface. It was cold, impossibly cold, the way deep space feels between the stars. And there was no visible seam, no lock, no latch. I could see the alien advisors smirking, already certain that this human would fail. I tried pressing, twisting, even lifting the box, but nothing happened. The queen tilted her head, watching my every move. I stepped back, thinking, trying to feel for something beyond the obvious. The box felt like it was alive, like it was waiting for something, not from my hands, but from my mind. I remembered something she had said during that first meeting weeks ago, when she had studied me across the banquet table. She had said humans are strange. They touch things with more than their fingers. I wondered then if this was about more than brute force, so I closed my eyes and placed my palms on the surface again, focusing not on the cold, unyielding material, but on the idea of what might be inside. I imagined warmth, light, movement. And slowly, I felt a faint pulse under my fingers, like a heartbeat. The whispers in the room grew louder. The queen leaned forward, her lips parting slightly, as if she was surprised. I pressed deeper with my mind, letting thoughts flow into the box, of home of the seas, of earth, of the scent of rain, and the sound of laughter. And suddenly there was a soft click. The hall went utterly silent. I opened my eyes and saw a hairline seem appear in the center of the box, a warm light spilling through it. The queen took a slow step toward me, her expression unreadable. I lifted the lid, and inside was not gold or jewels, but a small orb glowing with shifting colors. Like a living rainbow, it hovered slightly above the base, humming softly, and when I touched it, the light wrapped around my wrist like a bracelet, and then vanished into my skin. The queen inhaled sharply, as if she recognized something important. She reached for my hand, turning it over to see the faint glow now etched into my flesh in an intricate pattern. The bond mark, she whispered, as if to herself. Her chord erupted into chaos, voices overlapping in disbelief. She turned to them, lifting her voice. This human has done what none of you could, and according to our law, my value is now my chosen. The protests were loud, but they could not override the ancient laws of their people. She stepped closer until her face was inches from mine, her voice dropping to a private murmur. You do not yet understand what you've done or what this bond means, but you will, and when you do, you'll see why I wanted you to want to open it. Then she kissed me lightly, yet with a certainty that made it clear this was no performance. Her hand lingered against my cheek, and then she turned to face the roaring court, her voice ringing with command. Prepare for the union ceremony tonight. From that moment forward, I was no longer a guest or an outsider. I was bound to her in ways I couldn't yet fathom. The days that followed were a whirlwind of alien traditions, feasts, and rituals. The queen stayed close to me, teaching me about the bond mark, which linked our life forces together, meant that my health, my emotions, and even my thoughts could influence hers, and hers could influence mine. It was a union far deeper than any human marriage could be. The court began to accept me, not because they wanted to, but because the box had chosen me, and by extension, So had their queen late one night in the choir or private chambers, I asked her why she had risked so much to issue that challenge. She stood by the window looking out at the twin moons before turning to me and saying, because a box was never meant to be opened by strength or skill, it was meant to be opened by someone whose heart could reach beyond themselves. Someone who could feel the soul of it, and I knew from the moment I met you that it might be your words sank deep into me, and I began to realize that this was more than challenge or a game, it was destiny. And as I took her hand and felt the bond mark pulse between us, I knew that whatever lay ahead in this strange galaxy, I would face it with her not just as her husband, but as her equal partner, and the one who had unlocked not just the box, but the heart of the most powerful and beautiful queen in existence. /hashtag Love Ya Across Humans and Dalians, #Galactic Love.